Hello, and welcome replay viewers. Today, stay tuned because we are talking about 3 hidden blocks that can hold creative service providers back from fulfilling their potential, and nobody wants to do that, so stay tuned for that. By the way, replay viewers, do remember that you can hit the heart button and share this out. I'm on a mission to help as many creative entrepreneurs as possible to be able to profitably and confidently be able to stand out from the crowd, do creative work that fills their hearts with joy and pride, and be able to do it without being horribly salesy and, icky or anything like that. And a big part of that is actually being able to move forward without kind of stuff getting in your way. So, because I know it is so frustrating, isn't it? I have heard so many people say, well, I'm looking at what so-and-so is doing and so-and-so is doing, and I'm thinking, I could do that. Why aren't I getting these results? And especially where they've already been looking. Yes, hi Julia, thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. There we are. I've known how to do it now. Thank you, Juliet. Putting comments up on the screen. Fantastic. So the thing is that when stuff is getting in your way, it can be very frustrating because you might be doing all the right things, or certainly you're at least taking action. And it makes a difference when you take the right action with, it's not necessarily even just the right attitude, though of course that helps, but just when you're doing it without getting in your way, without getting in your own way, without having these blocks in place. So one of the things I wanted to get across is that there is nothing wrong with you. I think sometimes people feel, oh, I have this block or and that makes me less than. And it's like rubbish. Pretty much every human being on the planet has got some blocks. Okay. And so, we all have these lessons to learn and ways that we can grow as human beings. And I think for those of us who are in business, it just shows up a lot more, that we, it means that we can identify where those blocks are a lot easier sometimes because it shows up in our business. Our results are telling us what is working and what isn't working. And I think that's really key. Now, let me just share this out here, and also please do share this out yourself if you haven't already. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with you. But that doesn't mean that you're not getting the results that you want and that you might not be getting in your own way. So what are these blocks that we're talking about? And there's several things that it could be. One is some kind of resistance. So it's a negative belief. It's a pattern of behavior. It's something that affects your connections with other people, the personal and business relationships that you have. And that can be in terms of what you tolerate in other people. It can be in how you treat other people. It's not just a belief. And I think that's where sometimes people get stuck. They think, well, I don't have any negative beliefs about money, or I don't have any negative beliefs about selling, but it's not always conscious. It's not always a specific thought that you can verbalize like that. Sometimes it's deeper down than that. So where do these blocks come from? Well, they come from what we're told as children. Up until the age of about 6, 7 years old, we are like sponges. Everything we are told, boom, 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 it lands on it and we absorb it. We have no filter to go, well, is that true? Really? Are you sure? Children don't do that. And then what's really interesting is that we're told things and we see what people do. So as children, we tend to copy that. We mimic it. Children are wonderful mimics, aren't they? Because that's a major way in how they learn. And then as we get older, it's how we interpret our experiences, because if we were told something or we saw something in our family, our friends, our teachers, we interpret things in the light of those patterns and those beliefs and those thoughts, and we attach a meaning to it. And then because we have that meaning, we look for opportunities to repeat that kind of experience, right? So that's really what I'm talking about. And so much of this is running people it's that even if they know, oh man, like I was speaking with somebody this week on a session where they realized that they weren't treating somebody very well, and that they often did this and then they would have remorse afterwards. But in that moment, they actually felt quite good. So there's definitely a pattern there, that some things that we need to be releasing so that that person isn't doing that. So they actually feel good without having to do these things. Because having remorse for something that you've done or something that you haven't done isn't enough for you to actually make the changes, okay? There needs to be something more than that. And this is one of the reasons why I have brought Lotus Seed Life into my business. This is a tool that I used to use way back when I was doing life coaching all around how to be more confident. And I just saw in many clients where I was giving them and working with them to discover the best business models and strategies and skills and things. And they're making changes, right? But they weren't always feeling congruent with those changes. And then the trouble is, I think, well, what's going to happen when they finish working with me? Are they going to revert back to type? And I didn't want that to happen. So I've brought this back into my business and I'm so excited. I've already done numerous sessions in the last couple of weeks and the results have been phenomenal. I'm going to share just a couple of little things with you as we go through this. So I said I was going to share with you 3 hidden blocks, and it's really probably more 3 areas of hidden blocks, but I just wanted to talk about these. So the first one is procrastination. The second is not having enough time. And the third is all around getting new clients and earning as much income as you want to have. Now, here's the thing. Let's look at procrastination first. When people are procrastinating, it's not usually because they don't want to do that thing. It's often because they're feeling a resistance to doing that thing. And I had a client just recently who, we'd worked on resistance, and they had something that we'd actually talked about in a previous session that they were going to do, and that it was very logical for them to take this step. It was outsourcing a part of their business. And so they, as far as I was concerned, they said they were going to do it. And then when we worked on the resistance and followed up from that, they said, I've done it. And it was interesting. I knew it was the right thing to do, but I had felt a resistance. Something was holding me back from doing it. And then when I did it, it was fine. And I felt okay to do it. I just did it. And now I feel so free. Now I feel liberated because I don't have to do that anymore. And it's really making me think of how I structure the way that I work. So this is what can happen. Quite often people are procrastinating for weeks, months, even years about things that are important to them. And there's some kind of resistance there. Or it might be a pressure. There may be pressure that they're putting on themselves or pressure coming externally. It could be because they feel obligated to do something. Maybe they actually don't want to do this, but they feel obligated to. But because they feel obligated, they're kind of rebelling against it and not doing it. Even that could be the case, that they feel obligated to do it and it is something that they want to do as well. I remember hearing a saying that maturity is doing what you want, even if it's the same as what your parents want you to do. And I just thought that was brilliant, So here's another reason why people procrastinate, is because if they believe that they don't deserve, if they have a pattern of not deserving things, either deflecting them or they get them and then suddenly it's gone. That's a classic example with money. Or that they feel they're not good enough, then those are other reasons why people might procrastinate. And so much of this is happening under the hood. You might not even be consciously aware of it, but there may be the case that as I'm talking through some of these things, you might feel a little kind of, oh, yeah, God, that's interesting. That's kind of resonating with me. And I'm going to explain something that you can do about that at the end. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so doubt is another reason why people can procrastinate, because in the if you're doubting whether something is a good idea, if you're doubting your ability to do something, if you're doubting how people might respond, all of those things can all be coming into play. You're doubting whether you're going to be successful. All of those things are going to happen and cause people to procrastinate. Okay, so second one, not having enough time. This is such a major thing. People all over the place are saying, oh yes, I'm busy, or I'm too busy to do this, I'm too busy to do that, I'm too busy to look after my health, I'm too busy to do that great project, I'm too busy to follow up on those people who might become clients, I'm too busy to eat healthily. Okay, there's all sorts of reasons / excuses why people say they haven't got the time to do things. And what's often really going on underneath this is really about caring what other people think. Because if you have people who are placing demands on you that might be unreasonable, maybe they're not really taking responsibility for their own stuff, and you're kind of going and running around after them. Even with children, actually, this was a really interesting one. I worked with a client who realised from working on pleasing others that they saw how them and their partner were doing a lot to please their children and please other kind of extended family members. And actually it wasn't good for them and their relationship or the children concerned. So it's very easy to you kind of know a bit, but it's not quite in your awareness. And now they feel empowered to do something about that, to change that pattern of behavior, not because of just knowing it logically, and this is actually a very logical person, but actually because they feel it. And I think that's the thing, like with the person who worked on resistance, they knew it was logical to do something, but they hadn't been doing it because they weren't feeling it. Very interesting. So, hey, Saras, welcome. Okay, so if you're looking to please other people, then you want to do things for them, or maybe not do things for them, not do things for yourself because you know that's going to please them. And then there's also the aspect of caring what other people think. So I think this happens a lot with people where they maybe have come from an environment, a background where maybe there wasn't a lot of money or a high level of success, and it makes other people feel uncomfortable if you are achieving more than they are. And it's very easy for them to kind of try and drag you back down. And so that caring of what other people think can really play into not having enough time and guilt. A lot of people say, oh, well, I need to do this. I feel guilty if I don't. So getting rid of that allows you to do what is actually, what you want to do. And look, everybody I've met is a nice person. You all want to do what is best for yourself and the people around you. And when you take away these extremes of patterns, then it allows you to do what's best kind of in that moment and to deal with life's challenges in a better way. So victim is another one that comes along. So you might be a victim to not having enough time, to a victim to other people, to your business. Any of these things can be an underlying pattern. And blame is a really interesting one, because when you are blaming other people for not having enough time, then you're not taking responsibility. And if you don't take responsibility, then you don't get to fix it. So being in a state of blame means you stay stuck. All right, as do many of these things. Now, addictions is another interesting one that I think plays into this as well, because if you are spending your time, maybe you're watching all TV, maybe you're kind of out drinking every weekend or having several glasses of wine a night more than you ought to be. Maybe you're you're just not looking after your health properly. You're addicted to doing things that take up time that you could be having more fulfilling and healthy pursuits. Then that means you're going to have less energy. And if you don't have enough energy, it can feel like you don't have enough time as well. And all of this, of course, can cause people to feel really stressed. Look, when you're feeling stressed, do you feel like you can think clearly? Do you know what I mean? it just doesn't happen. When you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling pressure, when you're feeling any of this stuff I'm talking about, it's very hard to see clearly. So it's really interesting, what can happen. And please let me know in the comments, what are you resonating with in terms of what I'm talking about here? Are you having an issue with procrastination? Do you ever feel like you don't have enough time? And now we're getting on to the other big one, which is around getting new clients. Okay, getting new clients, dealing with existing ones, and all around the amount of earnings that you have. Is your income what you want it to be? And even if you're having the sales, are you having the profitability? Because I know in creative services, I see a lot where people are undercharging and over delivering. So where is that coming from? Well, one of the patterns there is about being insecure. And when you're insecure, that's like when you don't feel confident as you could. And it's been really interesting, some of the things that are coming up around this, So it's really about when you feel insecure, then you're just not going to take the action that you want. Or even if you do take it, then you're taking it in a very kind of tentative way, and you're just not going to be giving off the right vibe to get the results that you want. And also, insecure means you might not speak up or speak out about something. Speak up for yourself. If people are demanding, say you're a designer and people are you've in your contract, you do have a contract, don't you? In your contract, you've got 3 revisions or 2 revisions included in the fee that you've charged, and they come back again and again. And if you feel insecure, or if you don't feel not, good enough, then you might not go back to that client and say, sure, I can do those for you. It will be an extra blah, blah, blah. Okay. So these are very, really money oriented things that can happen around that. Another one is feeling not good enough. And it's really interesting when people feel like an imposter. It has a massive difference on the way that they act. And I had, a client who has said that, in talking about that they'd achieved a level of success when they were younger, and when they went to visit a friend and they had a nice car and the nice clothes, and that the friend's father said something to them, oh, you look very affluent. And that immediately they just felt really bad about themselves, as if it was a criticism. And it may have been, it may not. Yeah, absolutely. Hashtag trigger. I like that. Thank you, Kate. Yeah. Absolutely. So these are some of the things that can get in the way. I got another few I'm just going to quickly look at. A big one is I don't deserve. I think I mentioned that in one of the other ones. Yes, I mentioned that in the procrastination. This is a big thing around where people don't feel that they deserve money. They don't deserve to be rich or wealthy. They don't deserve to make enough money or to be able to save, and all of those kinds of things. So, they really kind of get in there with that. And that was a really obvious one, I think. I think people can see, oh yeah, if I don't deserve, then I'm going to either repel these great situations, or I'll get them and then boom, they're gone. I somehow will self-sabotage in that. And these things can be very subtle in the way that they happen. Another is taking things personally. And I think this is a big one for creative service providers, because when you are, you have your designs or the videos or the writing, whatever it is that you are creating to sell to people, then it's, it can really be like, if I take things personally, if you say no, I'm going to take that personally. If I show you my ideas and you don't like them, I'm going to take that personally. That can cause people actually just not to put it out there. Or even if they say no to your pricing, that you take that personally. You take it to mean I'm not good enough, or that they are rejecting you. And in which case they might not be. It's just that maybe you haven't demonstrated the value well enough, or maybe they're just not the right client for you. That happens an awful lot. Money, of course, that we have sessions on money. We actually have 3 sessions on money. But this is really about your relationship with money. And you want to be thinking of money as a friend, because look, money itself is just neutral. It's just a way of exchanging value with each other. It isn't good. It isn't evil. It's what we do with it that really matters. And money will amplify who you are. A lot of people seem to believe if I get money, that's going to turn me into some sort of greedy, evil overlord, and I'm going to overthrow the whole world. no, of course that isn't going to happen. So it's really interesting that, these kinds of things aren't going to happen. If you're a nice person, it's just going to amplify that you're a nice person. It's going to show that you're going to be able to do more good with that in whatever way that is. And starting with yourself and your family, there is nothing wrong with doing that as well. Final one is guilt. And I think again, and I heard this in the context of a coach who coaches coaches. 3 coaches in that sentence, yeah. And so this coach was saying quite often their clients would feel guilty because it felt easy for them to do their work because it came naturally to them, and they felt it was a gift, a natural gift. Maybe in a spiritual way they felt that, I've been given this gift, so I should give it away. And it absolutely is not about that. Just because what you do comes easily to you and is a gift, it's still value, and there needs to be an equal exchange of value. Otherwise, one or both parties are going to feel incongruent, taken, the guilty or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's really got to be going away out of that. Okay, so the Lotus Seed Life sessions are just so powerful. They really are. And what I'm going to do is, I've just realised I can't do it in here. I'll need to do it when I put my Facebook back on. I'm going to put a comment in, a link in a comment for if you want to come and book an LSL breakthrough session. So it's a Lotus Seed Life breakthrough session. It is really incredible, and don't feel, a few people have asked me this actually, do I have to have identified what it is that we work on, okay? And if you're feeling that, don't be feeling that. And Kate, thank you. Yes, she's had an experience. They are very powerful. So thank you for sharing that. And so I'm going to do that, and you can book a session. It's a paid for session. The results that you're going to get from this will be amazing. They might be subtle. They might be massively in your face. I guarantee you there will be changes. And the way this works is you book the session in my diary and pay kind of through that link. It's only £197 for this, right? It's an absolute bargain for what you're getting. And you're then going to get sent a questionnaire. So you fill out this questionnaire, and this is for me to be able to help identify, okay, what are the patterns that I'm seeing here? What can be the underlying things? So that's where I get to do the detective work. I love this bit. It's really good fun. So I do the detective work. You don't have to figure out what it is that you need to work on. You just tell me what's going on in your life, what's going on in your business, what's going on with your health and well-being. Those are the kind of 3 areas that we're talking about here. And the reason why I'm not just talking about business, even though I work with business owners, is because, quite often something will show up in your personal life in a more obvious way, yet it's still actually having an impact on your business. So this is why I do it that way. And then on the session itself, we'll have a chat through, and I'll kind of help unpick some of these things. And we will actually do an LSL session there and then. And also included in this is a follow-up call. And the reason why I do the follow-up call is because sometimes it can be hard when in the midst of things to actually see what's changed because it's so subtle. This is not a technique that you need to say this is your issue, and then, I have this technique. When this issue comes up, I apply this technique. That's not what's going on. What's actually going on is you have this issue, and then this issue just kind of disappears. And sometimes you don't notice because it's subtle. As I said, it's helping to release what isn't you so that you can become the best version of yourself. I'm having a ball doing these sessions. I am so glad that I brought it back. I actually feel more congruent in doing work this way, where I'm integrating LSL into my business coaching packages, and people can have it just on their own as well if they feel, actually, I'm sorted with, I know what to do in my business. It's about making sure that I either do it, or when I do it, I actually get the results that I want. And if you're wondering, well, how could somebody not be getting the results they want if they're taking the best actions? Well, here's an example for you. And this is back from when I was doing LSL first time around. And I worked with it was actually a business coach, consultant type person. And they said that they were part of a franchise. And when they went on client, to meet a potential client, they said that their peers, the other business coaches in this franchise, they would sign up their clients then and there, just in that first meeting. But this client was actually having to go at least 2, if not usually 3 times to meet the client before they would sign on the dotted line. So we did a session and I had a follow-up a few days later, and they were like, very logical person. They were like, I don't get what's going on here. I didn't think anything differently. I didn't do anything differently. I didn't say anything differently. I did exactly the same as I've always done. But I had 3 first-time meetings in the last few days, and they all signed up with me. I don't understand what's going on. And what actually, what we had worked on something that was causing a barrier between them and their clients, even though it wasn't a visible barrier. It was a block that was there. And when that block was then released, these clients felt like they could trust him straight away. And it was actually his trust issues that had been causing the problem. So, and it took, after a few meetings, they were able to be sure, okay, yeah, this person is trustworthy. I can trust them. But when those trust, issues had disappeared, then it was a situation where it's like, oh, okay, I trust you. Yeah, you're saying all the right things, you understand me, blah, 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 whatever it was he was doing in that situation. So that meant that, that person's sales increased. It also helped them to be more profitable because it took them less time to actually bring a client on board. And they felt better about themselves as well because they weren't looking at their peers and going, well, why can they do that and I can't? So if any of this is resonating with you, then please, number 1, give me some hearts and share this out because, I want to be adding value to the community. I don't care if you become clients or not. I really am on a mission to help creatives to become more successful, to be happier, healthier and wealthier as well, because then they can just do so much more in the world. And, I'm a creative. This is really important to me. Yeah. Secondly, I'm just going to pop this link in a moment in the comments. So go and visit that. It's only £197. You just book it. I send you book the time, pay it on your card, and you'll get sent the questionnaire automatically. And then I get to see you and work with you, and we can get rid of one of these blocks that might be holding you back. Just in the last week, I've had people identify their ideal clients, have people, boom, like several people are like, oh, I've had these clients just coming in. They're just appearing out of nowhere. Other people are taking actions on things they've been procrastinating about. People are seeing the resources that they actually have instead of only seeing what they don't have. And a lot of this stuff might sound very obvious when I say it, but knowing something and actually being or doing something, they're different things. So yeah, absolutely. Also, if you are a creative services provider and you're not yet in the Courageous Creatives community, then search that and come and join me. We have loads of value going on in there. And also, I'm going to be running a challenge in the next few weeks. So come and input as to what the topic of that challenge is going to be. All right, have a fantastic week, everybody. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. And remember, pop what your thoughts are in the comments. I want to know what resonated with you. Any questions that you have, I'll be happy to come back and answer them in the comments later. Bye.